You haven't even completed your investigation yet. Yesterday it was an assault. Today it's a murder.
Well, the facts haven't changed, have they, Logan? Look, I'd hold off forever if you could give me one idea as to how this crime could have been committed by anybody else but your friend, Draper Scott.
It's not my responsibility. You're the detective.
Excuse me, I've got some information for you. Excuse me.
Deborah.
I've been checking out that alibi.
Alibi? What alibi is it? You working on the Dorn murder?
Yeah, I am. I've been to a couple of... Did you say murder?
Yes, Margot Dorn died about an hour ago.
Oh, my God.
Go on, what were you saying?
I checked out the only 2 bars within a 5-block radius of the Riverside Theater. One of them was closed for vacation, has been for the last 10 days. The other one is a neighborhood bar with only 4 or 5 regulars in it. Chief, I'm trying to tell you that I think I've got enough information to prove that somebody else killed Margot Dorn.
Well, for God's sake, Deborah, who is it?
Well, I've been checking out Elliott Dorn's alibi regarding his whereabouts the night of the murder.
Yeah? What is his alibi?
Oh, something about having gone to the movies and out for a couple of drinks?
Yeah, he said he went to this movie. It was so bad he couldn't remember the name of it at the Riverside Cinema. Anyway, I checked it out. It would happen to be a very good movie. It should be up for an Academy Award.
That doesn't prove anything. So he doesn't agree with the critics.
Well, he also forgot the name of the bar that he went to afterwards.
The dives in that neighborhood aren't the kinds of places you plan on going back to.
But I'm saying this is the only bar that he could have gone to without walking another 8 or 9 blocks. This is the kind of bar where everybody knows everybody else.
They know Elliott?
No, they didn't. That's just the point. I talked to the bartender the night that Margot was murdered. He said it was a very slow night. There were only 4 or 5 regulars there. I showed him a picture of Elliott. He said he never saw him before.
It's very interesting, Detective. It's not conclusive.
Well, he's lying, Chief. Why else would Elliott lie? Except to hide the truth.
And what do you think the truth is?
I think that Elliott killed his wife.
Detective, I don't know if you've knocked down Elliott Dorn's alibi or not, but even if you have, that doesn't mean he killed his wife.
How about this one? Motive.
Damn good one, too.
Wait a minute. Have you 2 been rehearsing this?
Well, we do know something that you don't. Little tidbit we learned from April Scott.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, you know they're separated. Margot threw Elliott out on his ear.
Yes, but there are less drastic ways of ending a marriage.
Yeah, and divorce is the most common, but that's just the problem. Margot did not want to give Elliott a divorce.
Why not if she threw him out of the house?
Something changed her mind. Or should I say someone?
Nola Madison. The minute that Elliott took up with her, Margot refused to give him a divorce.
Oh, I see. Out of sheer spite.
April said she was absolutely adamant about it. And she wasn't going to give him what he wanted.
And since Elliott would have no legal right to Nola's money without being her legal husband, that divorce was important to him.
And, of course, all this information came from only one source.
Well,
Margot confided in her daughter naturally.
And her daughter is married to Draper Scott.
I've known April for years. She wouldn't make up this story to protect her husband.
You've known her husband for years.
Other people must have known how Margot felt about a divorce. I'm sure I can prove it, Chief.
Making it necessary for him to have to get rid of her by other means.
A lot of spouses have been killed for that reason.
What about Nola Madison herself? Isn't she still married?
No. Well, she's married, but they want to get a divorce, too. I think her husband wants a divorce more than she does. And she can't be suspect because we know exactly where she was at the time of the murder.
But we don't know where her boyfriend was.
Well, there's something else we don't know. How he could have committed the crime.
Well, let's just figure it out, then. Now, we know that Elliott was living there up until the time that Margot threw him out. He must have had keys to every lock in the place, known every access route.
The blueprints show that the elevator is the only access route.
Well, maybe he found out a way to conceal himself in the apartment.
Detective, we're talking about a modern high-rise building. There aren't any secret passageways to hide out in.
Elliott did it, and I'm going to prove it.
Come in.
Detective Stoner reporting for duty, Chief.
What are you doing?
Hey, Logan. Hi, Red.
Well, Calvin, you pack a week ahead of time. Don't tell me the honeymoon's over already.
No way.
Well, yeah, I thought you were supposed to be in St. Croix.
Yeah, we were. We were having a good time, too. But the news of what happened to Mrs. Dorn was in the paper down there, and I got to feeling a little guilty about being away, knowing how shorthanded you guys are up here.
Star must have loved that.
Well, actually, it was Star who suggested we come home. I think she figured my mind must have been on what was going on here. No comment.
Well, I can't say that I'm not glad to see you, even if you are wearing that shirt. Anytime you want that other week off, you just let me know.
Chief, now that Calvin's back, how about letting him partner with me on the Dorn case?
Well, I'd love nothing more, Red, but you know how the chief feels about 3 cops on 1 case.
Oh, but Steve is not my partner this time. He's on his way to California.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Thank you. Come on, I'll fill you in on the details on the way over. Bye, Logan.
Take care.
Chief, as soon as we find out anything, you will be the first to know.
Let me be the second one.
Mm-hmm. Ciao.
It's been a long day. I guess I better be getting along, too.
Yeah. No, I got a few other cases I got to catch up on here.
Thank you
For what?
for not sending them out with that warrant for Draper's arrest. I appreciate you holding off on it.
Well, let's just see what Saxon can come up with on this theory of hers. But, I'm gonna keep this in my top drawer for now.
I still can't believe it. I fully expect to walk into that studio tomorrow morning and see Margot there just like always.
It's going to take some time.
Never be the same. Ever. Margot's dead. My mother's dead.
Look, you want to go upstairs and try to get some rest now?
No, I don't want to go to bed. I'm not tired. Draper, why did it happen? Who could have done it? Who could have killed her?
I don't know, April. I just don't know. That's one of those damn reporters.
Hello, Draper.
What do you want?
I would like to speak with your wife, please.
About what, Elliott?
April, you have my deepest sympathies.
Is that all you came to say?
No, April. We've never been close. But I think tonight we share a common ground. May I come in, please? When I heard of Margot's brutal attack, I was horrified. And then to learn she didn't survive, the news has me badly shaken up.
Really?
I share your grief, April. I want you to know that.
You couldn't care less, Elliott. Can't you be honest for once in your life?
That's where you're wrong. Margot was as much a part of my life as she was of yours.
Only now that she's out of yours, you couldn't be happier.
Margot and I may have parted company, but I wish to no ill will, I can assure you.
Take it easy, Dawn. You're upsetting my wife.
It's all right, Draper. What are you going to tell me next, Elliott? That you were hoping for a reconciliation?
But there was no saving the marriage. Even though Margot and I have parted company, I still had a great deal of respect and admiration for her.
After all the heartache you caused my mother, you have the gall to sit here in my house and tell me that?
I may not deserve the title of the world's best husband, I admit that.
Margot was willing to provide you with absolutely everything you could ever possibly want, but that wasn't enough for you, Elliott. You wanted everything, and you didn't care what it took to get it.
April.
The way you treated my mother, Elliott, was criminal, and I mean that in the most literal sense of the word. That you are sitting here right now when you tried to frame my mother for murder?
At that moment, I honestly thought you had shot Wade Meacham.
Oh, so you were just being the good citizen. You never entered your mind that with Margot out of the way, the penthouse and everything was yours to do with it what you will.
April, these things are things of the past. I admit I have done Margot a lot of wrong.
It's a little late for apologies, though, isn't it, Elliott?
Look, I wish I could make amends. I do have a conscience, you know.
Elliott, you won't lose 1 second's sleep over anything you ever do in your whole entire life.
If I were as callous a human being as you make me out to be, why do you think I came here tonight?
Well, that's a very good question. Why did you?
I'll tell you why I'm here. Because I cannot get Margot's forgiveness. I was hoping I could get her own daughters.
Well, I'm sorry, Elliott. It isn't my place to grant you absolution for your sins. And even if it were, I'm feeling a little too sorry for myself right now to have any room left to pity you. I really don't want to talk to you anymore. I just think you better leave.
You sure you want to watch that news tonight?
Yes.
The most difficult assignment a reporter can be asked to handle is the death of a colleague. Tonight, I must report the untimely passing of a fellow broadcaster, as well as a dear, dear friend, Margot Huntington Dorn. Miss Huntington succumbed earlier today to head injuries sustained during a vicious, senseless attack that took place in her apartment 2 nights ago. She remained in a coma from the time of the attack and was unable to identify her assailant. The killer's identity, as well as motive, remain a mystery. Monticello Police Chief Derek Mallory has made this case a top priority. Miss Huntington leaves a daughter, WMON reporter April Scott, as well as a husband. Our heartfelt sympathies go out to both of them. When Margot Huntington came to Monticello 2 years ago, she had a reputation as being one of the most dynamic executives in print journalism, but she was determined to make her mark in television. She purchased WMON and put all her energies into making this station one of the most respected broadcast outlets in this state. Professional accolades, as well as viewer response, have indicated that she was a success. But Margot was not one to rest on her laurels. She always strived to do more. And that's why we felt that it would be a proper sign-off to Margot to show the tape we are about to air. It was recorded just a short time before she received the injuries that were to cause her death. In it, Margot discusses her plans for WMON's upcoming election coverage for election year 1980.
The straw ballots have been cast. The candidates are getting nervous, and the primary season is just about upon us, which means only one thing. We're all going to be heading for the polls very shortly to elect a new president. With all the complicated issues and the number of presidential hopefuls, WMON felt obligated to try and find the most politically aware and informed person they possibly could to spearhead their election coverage. Well, our choice was not a difficult one. I'm very proud and pleased to announce that Geraldine Saxon, Monticello's most prominent political figure, has agreed to join WMON for the next year with her analysis, her coverage, her instincts, and her insight. Geraldine, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much, Margot. And I'm very flattered by your introduction. I only hope I can live up to my advanced billing.
Well, today's news would indicate that this election may be one of the most exciting of the past century. Frankly, I wouldn't miss it for the world. How do you see it?
Well, of course, I couldn't agree more that this is going to be one of the most crucial elections in our time.
So you believe by the time both parties go to their respective conventions, the field of candidates will have narrowed considerably?
Well, of course, some of them are going to fall by the wayside as a result of the primary. And then there will be those who will retire gracefully long before that when they realize that they simply cannot raise the funds necessary to run for that Oval Office.
Many people believe that the incumbency is a decided advantage. How do you feel about
Jamie's
that?
asleep, finally. No, don't turn that off on my account.
No, I've seen enough.
Well, what I heard sounded pretty good.
Strange, isn't it, Logan? Ironic that Margot's last interview should coincide with my television debut.
Very unhappy coincidence.
You know, Margot was wonderful. She did everything possible to make me feel at home there. I didn't get to know her very well, but still, I feel a dreadful sense of loss.
I feel outrage. Useless waste of life. I think I need a drink. Can I fix you one?
No, dear, thank you. I've just been sitting here wondering how April is bearing up under all this.
I haven't spoken to her since her mother died, but she was devoted to Margot. I imagine she's devastated.
I feel terrible for that child.
I'm going over there in a little while. I want to tell her how sorry I feel.
When you do go, convey my sympathies too, Logan, would you?
certainly will. I just hope I'm not the conveyor of any more grief.
What makes you say a thing like that?
Well, it'll be a hell of a time to have to tell her that her husband was going to be arrested for her mother's murder.
You can't be serious.
I'm afraid that Derek Mallory is about that far away from serving a warrant with Draper's name on it. If he decides to do that, I think the news should come from a friend.
But surely you can't believe that Draper would be involved in a crime that brutal, or any crime for that matter.
As far as I'm concerned, if he says he didn't do it, then he didn't. Stall Derek as long as I can on this investigation, but I can't ask him to base his conclusions on Draper's word that he's innocent.
Why would he think him guilty?
The facts. Much as I hate to say it, the facts pointing to Draper are overwhelming.
That's very nice, Nicole. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hello, Nicole.
Miles.
I thought you handled that show very well.
Thank you. It wasn't easy.
It's really a shocking thing about Margot. I'm very sorry about that.
April is taking it very hard.
I guess she would. Gotta go over and see her.
How are you?
I'm all right.
I've been worried sick about you. You haven't answered any of my messages. Why didn't you call?
That's the way it's gotta be. I explained all of that to you.
Why are you here?
Well, I was just in the neighborhood. I thought I'd drop by and see how you were.
Well, why don't you give me a lift home tonight?
No.
Miles, come on, now, please. Come on home with me tonight.
No, I'm not ready for that yet.
I've missed you. And so's Adam, you know. I've run out of excuses for telling him why his daddy isn't home.
Yeah, well, I'll try to give him a call.
We need you. That isn't good enough.
Not the way I am now, you don't.
Would you let me help you?
No, I haven't changed my mind. I gotta work this out myself.
Well, then come home for April's sake. We're a family, you know, and we need you.
I'll do whatever I can to comfort April, but I have to stay away from you right now.
Why?
For one thing, because it's what you want, obviously.
What?
Oh, what is the big deal? Just because I haven't been around doesn't mean that you have been lonely.
How can you say that?
If I were to come back, you wouldn't be able to spend any more nice little evenings with your new friend Derek like you did tonight.
Oh, you ever got it into... Can you listen to what
Listen,
you're saying?
don't try to deny it, please. I mean, I heard from Deborah Saxon that that's where you were tonight. You listen to me, Mrs. Kavanaugh. In this world, if you want to play, you have to pay. And there's a price for everything, including infidelity.
Have some sodas here. Another double.
You sure about that?
I'm just pleasantly tipsy, I assure you.
Yeah, another one of these and you'll tipsy right off of that stool there.
Listen, just leave the bottle here. You don't have to save you the trip of going and getting it every time. I'll take care of it.
Forget it.
Oh, gash on the barrel ahead. Okay.
That's your last one. You've had your limit.
I know my limit.
Look, pal, I shoveled snow all day long, so I'm not in the mood to throw you out of this place. So just finish this drink and get out of here, okay?
Elliott? Hello.
Well, Montecito's finest. Well, sit down. Can I buy you a drink? I'm
No,
paying.
thank you. We're on duty.
Oh, I hate to drink alone.
I don't know. You seem to be doing okay.
Okay, Elliott, let's get this over with.
I expected you to drop by, but not quite so soon. I'm not sure I'm in the mood to talk just yet.
Look, Elliott, it was you who called and asked us to meet you here.
We would like to know why.
The reason I convened you, my friends, is because I have a confession to make. A full confession.